Namaste. Welcome to the 12th episode of our series of Prajna titled Sthitaprajna in the Truth as Authority series. Although let me mention again, bring to your attention once again the book that I've written under the title of Truth as Reality, and it's available on Amazon. And I would humbly request you to purchase that book and keep that book along with you when you attend these episodes, so that they will act as cross companions for the study of Bhagavad Gita and Indian spirituality, Vedanta in general. Um, Prajna today we will discuss in a totally different context. Prajna or consciousness, as we learned so far in the past 11 episodes, is an evolving phenomenon acquired and entitled only by the human beings. The human being at the time of birth is not much different from the other forms of creation, again created by God. But as the prajna evolves, as the consciousness evolves, by the time you turn 17 or 18, it is possible that you can extrapolate or superimpose or simply imagine or fancy symbols onto your imagination, onto your prajna, onto your consciousness. We realize that, or we're trying to realize and consciously become aware that it is the I that continues from previous existences to this existence and to the continuum that Vedanta proposes and consciousness prajna establishes as truth. It is now considered as a scientific truth that prajna never dies, consciousness never dies. It has never been born and it is never going to extinct or expire. All that expires is the matter that is essentially made up of the five elements of Prithvi, Ap, Tejo, Vayu, Akasha. By this time, I'm sure you would have acquired some knowledge of Sanskrit terminology that accompany any study of Vedanta or any study of Indian spirituality. With that assumption, let me go a step further that only man has the ability to discern and cognize mentally a concept into a persona, into a valid, solid shape. You can, and all along Vedanta, you will find an apparent conflict between Sakar and Nirakar. We all know that consciousness has no shape, consciousness has no solid existence. Even my friend and contemporary thinker, Andre Vaz, he concludes that consciousness at some stage can be called as an undifferentiated soup. A soup always is a nutrient-rich mixture. That being the case, it contains all the components and the ingredients at a mental level to create substances out of nothing. And for this context, for the study of Bhagavad Gita, in the context of a conversation between two people, and the subject being very, very important then and now, at the time it was composed and the time that we live in, it is very, very important that we try to superimpose or extrapolate a persona into that consciousness or level of prajna that we are now in. I believe that we have all reached a level of prajna where we can comprehend between the lines of the Bhagavad Gita. That is the skill that we are trying to acquire down the road. So the persona that we are talking about is the chief character of the Bhagavad Gita, namely Krishna. I mentioned earlier that The whole conversation between Krishna and Arjun is to make us believe, is to make us convinced about the truth of existence. Is the truths that are the secrets of life, the truths that are often kept covered, so that when the truth is known by everybody, it becomes a totally democratic life. Nobody has the right to rule over anybody else. But everything that we see as structures of government, structures of management, is only for the sake of convenience of social welfare. Krishna has made it very, very clear that at the individual level, man has every right to salvation, man has every right to liberation. But as we live in societies, certain structure has to be maintained and governed by good governance. That is what the social relevance of Gita comes in. Gita, spread over 18 chapters and 700 odd verses, emphasizes the fact that Gita principles can be applied at the individual level, at the social level, at the political level, at the governance level, and in essentially the cosmic level. So, such a beautiful, well structured philosophy cannot be found anywhere else. You will begin to realize this more and more as you think and feel with the Gita as you advance through the course. That being the case, what can Krishna, a convenient persona of a combination of good qualities? I said in the very first episode that a great poet from Kerala, a devotee poet of Kerala, a devotee of Krishna, as at Guruvayur, he has celebrated a composition called Narayaniyam, where the first canto of 10 verses and the very first canto praises Krishna as solidified bliss, Sandranandam, Sandrananda Avabodham. He adds the word Avabodham as consciousness, as awareness, that if at all there is any comparison between awareness and consciousness personified, it is none other than Krishna. And a study of Gita, and even at a superficial level, will reveal that Krishna is an all knowing personality which already is in a state of Sthitaprajna or an equipoise where adharma can never flourish, only dharma can flourish. This is the essential message of Gita. As I said, it is Mama Dharma, my dharma, and also you could apply this dharma in your karma. This is the beauty of Gita. How you can apply karma in your dharma, or how you can apply dharma in your karma, your professional life, your working lives, that we will study more in depth in the following episode, in the coming episodes. So, as we try to impose, or we try to extrapolate a personal shape and figure to consciousness of Prajna, we have, as human beings, are also endowed with creativity, but not creativity of a contriving nature, not creativity of a conceitful nature. We have to be honest with ourselves. When we look at Krishna in the pages of Bhagavad Gita, in the slokas of Bhagavad Gita, in the verses of Bhagavad Gita, that he is giving the top advice for us, the best advice for us possible as a leader, as a leader of men, as a leader of the world, and a friend of Arjun. So, sincerity at its best is to be maintained by us also in the study. So, the essential difference between Sakar and Nirakar, between form and formlessness, worship or admiration or adoration to a form or a formless concept. What would you prefer? in our daily lives, in our daily uh, parlance, in our daily conduct of affairs of life, both in public and in private? Do we grope in the dark with formless concepts, or do we grasp things by hand and by our five senses and our wisdom and by our knowledge, the jnana? Do we go for a form? Definitely, I believe that a concept with a form, with a personification, is more preferable than vague, hazy, nebulous ideas. So, with this, let me come to the conclusion of the episode of today, hoping that you will apply this knowledge you gained today in your study of Gita, which will become more personal between you and the subjects there. And slowly and gradually, you should be able to identify yourself with Arjun as a listener of wisdom given by Krishna, the eternal source of wisdom, eternal source of peace and knowledge. Okay, so with this, I come to a conclusion of this short episode, giving you enough points to do mananam, or self study, or self evaluation and revision. Until we meet again next time, let the blessings of Krishna be upon us. Thank you very much.